You have just stepped into the Midlife Revolution, your space to ignite possibility, redefine purpose, and embrace the power that comes with age. Co-hosted by yours truly, Coach Wayne.
And I'm Coach Stacy M. Lewis. And we're two seasoned coaches focused on the midlife community of color. This isn't just a podcast, it's a movement. In a world that sometimes forgets the power and the wisdom that comes with age, we're here to ignite a revolution and rewrite the narrative of this incredible journey.
So, whether you're navigating career shifts, rediscovering passions, or challenging the status quo, this is your space. So buckle up. Let's dive into the Midlife Revolution. Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Midlife Revolution. And I am Coach Wayne, the VIP coach that focuses on helping brothers get through midlife so that they can do better and their best in terms of their second half. Today, I am delighted to have the one and only Coach Stacy M. Lewis.
Woo, woo, woo! Let's shimmy. Good morning, my friend. It is always such a joy and an honor to spend some time with you. I am Stacy M. Lewis, and I have the honor of being both a nonprofit executive. Hit me up if you're looking for a great charity to donate to. That's Young Survival Coalition. And I also have the honor of being a coach to midlife women because it is such a beautiful season. And I want every woman in this season to be able to live a resilient, shining, bright life. And so I'm excited to be here with my fellow Coach Wayne. And before we get started, I'm just going to give my brother a shout out. For those of you that don't know yet, haven't seen on LinkedIn, I have the privilege of being with one of the 2024 Men to Watch, according to Black leaders worldwide. So I just want to celebrate you, Sir Wayne. I am so excited for you, and I am just believing great things for you, your coaching business, your entrepreneurship, and all that lies ahead.
Thank you so much, Stacy. I'm humbled, and it's indeed an honor. And I thank the folk from the organization that has identified several brothers and sisters that are on the worldwide platform of Black leadership, to just giving them thanks for the recognition and the opportunity to wave my flag. So thank you, Jermaine Moody, the founder and executive director, and his team. Appreciate you all.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So today I know we're going to be talking about the Bounce Back Plan. And Wayne and I have the opportunity to connect often and just talk about the commonalities between or amongst those that we serve, this midlife community, that self-identified midlife, and really what are some of the challenges, pain points, obstacles that we are facing as we are looking to grow our professional selves, expand our entrepreneurial territory, really to live our best lives. And we were talking about the fact that life happens, right? We know that, one generation, if not more, is always talking about life be life and life happens. And what is our opportunity to see in advance or to know that obstacles are coming? And so because we know obstacles are coming, it's such a great opportunity for a bounce back. So
Absolutely.
What you got?
Absolutely. And bounce back is what a lot of us commonly refer to as having resilience, right? Like a rubber band. You stretch to a limit, but before you break, you got to know when it is to bounce back. And so resiliency is a key. Good morning, Brother Curtis. Resiliency is key to surviving, and especially as you start raising the mileage. A lot of folk believe that when you raise the mileage, you're coming on the downward slope. But we're here to say that having the sensibility to know the art of resiliency is the key to a fulfilling second half in your life. So, Stacy, we want to talk about resiliency. You and I were in the green room talking about the R's of resiliency, right? And the first R that we wanted to talk about is remember, which is not
Mhm.
ignoring the obstacle, right? Not ignoring the fact that there are challenges. So don't turn a blind eye and, bury your head in the sand.
Yeah, and remember to your lovely introduction of resiliency in the R's. Just remember that there are obstacles that you've already overcome. So those experiences remind you. Ooh, that's a good one, right? Remember. Those experiences remind you that you are capable of conquering, of overcoming, of jumping over whatever the next or knocking it down, whatever that next obstacle or hurdle is. So I really appreciate remember, because looking back can sometimes just remind you of what you've already done, what you've already overcome.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, Stacey, there is, well, some of us have an issue. I don't want to say ooh with remembering anything, least of all obstacles. I'm one guy who sometimes don't remember the dates, not to mention what I had for breakfast. Is that telling? But let's move on. And
The
then there
joy of the journey, the joy of the journey.
and then there is a second of the R's is reconnect. Reconnect with your why. So it's so important that your why needs to first of all be bigger than yourself. So it escapes the ego. The why is something that's not self-serving. It's a larger picture and sense of purpose, your calling. And if you remember and reconnect with your why, even when the
Mhm.
chips are down, you are, as it were, able to keep your mind and your eyes on the prize because there is a why, something much greater than yourself from which you came into where you are headed, as it were. Reconnection.
Yeah, the thing about the why is that it can also be part of your core, right? It's often the why. Why are you a coach, Wayne? Why have you decided to become an entrepreneur? There is that center, that core of you that is driven, and that is really fueled by your why. And although you face obstacles, it is reconnecting with that why that says, that's the reason I need to move forward. That's the reason I need to press forward.
Coach Stacy, let me put you on the spot. Why do
Oh,
you do this
wow.
work? Why do you work with women of color in terms of elevating them? What's your why behind that?
I will gladly share my why. There's so many aspects to it, but most importantly, because I realized that there was a point in my own journey that I forgot about my dreams, about what I wanted. I poured into, of course, my career, poured into my family, and just really forgot about myself and realized that there were still aspirations and dreams that I had, and that there were many opportunities that I was living beneath what I believe I was put on this earth to do. And so in talking to other women, I realized that there was something about this season of midlife where many of us were struggling with the is it too late? Or do my dreams really matter? Or am I really capable? And am I worthy of pursuing my dreams? And so that for me was something that was burning. And I felt like if I could get past this and move through this and take the gifts and the skills that I have as a communicator, as a coach, that how could I not help other women, live a life they love, live a life thriving and on fire, live a life where their aspirations and passions are at the forefront of their mind. And it doesn't mean, we're all able to do many things. We're multi-passionate people. But for me, the fuel, the fire really was really ignited when I thought about, how can I use who God made me to be, what I have to really help other women move forward in this season.
Thank you. Brother Curtis is asking, do we think that the why is more important than the what? I do believe the why is important, because the why is your sense of direction, your why in terms of purpose. Your why drives where you position yourself, as it were, because your why is greater than yourself. And so I think when you understand the why, your what sort of forms itself out of the why. So if you know the reason why you're doing a thing, for example, when I work with men that are divorcees, oftentimes if they have baby mama drama, right, with their ex, I have to remind them as fathers about the why in terms of their role as fathers, despite what has taken place in terms of the household and the family. And so when the why in terms of the importance, the message, the reason for fatherhood stands above all of the other stuff, they are typically brought back into the fold to learn to negotiate and communicate in a way that allows them to co-parent. So the why, I've found, Brother Curtis, is more important. That's my personal opinion on that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I feel like the what without the why is just a thing that, I'll take my coaching as an example. Yes, I could coach women, but without the why, without really that understanding and that heartfelt desire, that it would just be coaching. And I don't believe that my coaching would be as meaningful, as impactful, as effective without the why I'm doing it. The why am I listening? The why am I really wanting to see women rise? And so that's my thought, is that,
Yeah.
the what is, yes, important, but without the why, it's just a thing.
If I may, the last thing I want to say about the why before we move on to the other R's is
Great question.
why challenges beliefs. And so a lot of times when
Mm.
we ask the question, why, right? What we're doing is we're saying, what is our belief, our core belief around this thing? And if it serves us, if the belief is strong, if it serves us, it allows
Mhm.
us, because, as I've always said, your belief dictates your thoughts and your words, your feelings, your actions, your habits, and your outcomes, or your personal reality. So we start off with the why, and then we can move all the way down. Moving on. Let's
No, I don't think we can move on yet, Wayne. We have
Okay.
another question from Michael. And I think, clearly this idea of the why, right? The why and the what is resonating. And so, Michael, thank you for joining us. And Wayne, I don't know what steps you use to help
Yeah.
men get to the why, and maybe you want to take on Michael's question
I
first.
absolutely will, brother Michael. Thanks for joining. And so Michael and I were online up to midnight last night. And this is a brother that I've met online. So thank you, brother Michael Cheney. So how do we do at VIP Transformative Living in terms of coaching? How do we help folks find their why? We simply ask. We ask the questions. Why? Because again, why is a challenging question. It challenges belief system. Why are you doing this? And we ask that questions at least 3 or 4 levels. So why is that important? So why do you want that? And what we're looking at is the ecology of the why. In other words, how it serves or does not serve the people, places, and things that are in your environment. And so we dig several layers, we remove several layers, and we keep going down till you get to the point where you are at your core. And that's where, Michael, you discover your why. Does that answer, Michael?
I agree. I think that you articulated that extremely well. So thank you for sharing that. Thank you so much. The reality is the why is so important. And clearly with the great questions we had today, we can certainly acknowledge that the why is important. I believe that one of our next R's, Wayne, is about the recommitment, right?
Yes.
The recommitment. Once you know your why, the recommitment to your goal, to really using that why to drive you, to inspire you, to support you, recommitting to the moving forward, recommitting to the right behavior, recommitting to the mindset shift that's really going to carry you forward.
Yeah. And that's important because goals are moving sort of transient points. The truth of the matter is when you set a goal and you achieve it, you have to set another goal. So it's very important that when you have a setback, and a setback doesn't mean failure, because all it means is reassessing or moving the goal to another place, another milestone, right? If you wanted to do something in 6 months, it didn't happen, it doesn't mean that you failed. It just meant that you didn't do it within the given time. When we talk about SMART goals, it meant that you didn't meet the time allotment, the T, right? So all you have to do, and those things are SMART, SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time oriented. You just simply need to move those accordingly. So you look at a setback as simply a signal and a feedback. It's data to help you recalibrate and recommit to the goal, but you don't stop.
I love that. And, that's the point where I believe we often need to reward ourselves. We often are looking at it like a failure. And the reality is we need to reward ourselves for the restart, for the recommitment, because it's easy to start that first time you're excited, whatever it is. Yet, when there are those obstacles, those setbacks, that's the time to really say, like, I'm going to reward myself for the commitment, for the restart, because that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where the grit is. And being resilient people in this beautiful season of life, we already know that we have within us the ability to restart.
Brother Orlando Edwards, thanks for joining, big brother. And we appreciate your question. In short terms, why do people allow society's point of view to direct their own purpose? And I'll give a stab at it. When we look at the needs that we have, one of the needs we have is a sense of belonging and a sense of approval and a sense of worthiness. If you've listened to any of the recordings in the past, brother Orlando, you will find out that one of the things that I believe in is we're all challenged with what I call the poor syndrome. We're challenged with the feeling that the thing that we wanted to achieve is not possible. P, it's we don't have the ability. A, or we're not worthy, we're not deserving. W, and in communities of color, the W seems to stand out more than anything else because we have listened for a long time and generationally had the mantra, had the narrative that says that we are not worthy, we're not deserving, people of color, you know. And when I work with brothers, a lot of times this comes up. Now, we don't walk around saying I'm no good, but at the subconscious level, it is one of the driving factors that comes about. So our primary fear as brothers and sisters is the fear of not being good enough. And a lot of times this starts at the imprinting level when we're not even 7 years old, based on the early caregivers that we had, sometimes unbeknownst to them, you know, when they will say, shut up, that's stupid. Keep quiet. You can't let the white man hear that because we'll get in trouble. So don't speak your voice. So to answer your question, my brother, oftentimes in terms of our point of view, we go along to get along. We have to understand the game in corporate America, right? We play the game. We codify who we are just so we can move along and be accepted.
Yeah, I think that that was an excellent answer. And I would add, often, Brother Orlando, is that we allow society or people in society to impact our point of view, oftentimes because we don't know our identity. Our identity, the who we are. And it goes back to the question, I think it was Curtis's question about the why, right? The why are we doing this? When you know your why and you know who you are, and that your why and who you are have come together into this is one of your vocational callings, will say, this is what you're supposed to be doing now. And you know that, what society thinks does not come into play. And so I love the way that Orlando used the word in our minds, that it is in our minds. And when we know who we are and we know what we're supposed to doing, supposed to do, it really doesn't matter what society says. And I think that he's right when he talks about to direct their own purpose, because it is your purpose is connected to your identity.
Yes, sir. And with let's see what we're doing in time. We have 7 more minutes to the bottom of the hour, but we still have to touch on reframe. Now, the other day, I'm looking for it. I purchased a camera and I was doing a shoot on a block outside of a cafe. And of course, there were cars and bustling and hustling, moving behind. It was a shoot for a commercial that I'm creating for VIP Transformative Living, right? And we just kept doing footage. And when I called the guy, my guy in Nigeria, who's going to edit the stuff, he says, just give us footage. Don't worry about all that stuff. We will edit by reframing some of the stuff. And so reframe is to change the focus, right, of the whatever thing it is, the hurdle, the barrier, the thing that we call failure, intervention, obstacle. Just reframe it. So don't focus, even though we said earlier, you don't want to ignore the obstacles. Don't focus and make it your priority. If you look at what's wrong, right, you're going to figure out wrongness. If you look at possibilities, possible possibilities for solutions, you're going to focus on resolution. So change, refocus, reframe.
I love it. I think, Wayne had such a way of speaking with such passion, and I'm sitting here so engaged in what he's saying, that I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to respond. the reframe is critical. And for anyone that is a believer in the basic instructions before leaving Earth, there's a story in there that talks about Peter walking on the water, and that as Peter has his eyes on Christ, he's walking on the water. But then when he takes his eyes off, right, he starts to go down. And then it is that reframing, that refocusing. We often talk about, stop focusing on the problem, focused on the bigger solution, right? Focused on all the power within you as you are created, and really reframe that thinking, that mindset to say, okay, we're going back to the beginning, right? That resiliency. I have conquered such problems before. I am capable. I'm recommitting to moving forward. And so I'm going to reframe how this problem is positioned in my own mind or in the situation, and realize that I have the power to really move forward once I reframe.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, what we're saying is, in terms of resilience, we talked about remembering, reframing, recommitting, and reconnecting. But at the end of the day, we're saying change your perspective, right? Don't ignore the pain, the obstacles, but also embrace the change. See it as a part of growing up and out, right? And also, I heard your doggy say hello. And also, what we want to let folks know is that it's never too late. You're never too old to deal with bouncing back, whether it's a new job, new career, a new relationship, a new take on your health and wellness. You can always change your perspective, and Stacy, we didn't say this at all, but my mother used to say, show me your friends and I'll tell you who you are, right? It's also important to build a strong social network, right? So that you're not dealing with people who are naysayers, negative, broken records of toxicity. Get away from that as you build.
Naysayers, negative, broken boxes of toxicity.
Yes.
You are
Yes.
absolutely right. And I love that you brought in that saying that I also grew up with: show us your company and I'll show you who you are. Because it really is so critical to even look at that, right? The relationships. And that wasn't one of our R's, but I think that that's really important as we talk about our bounce back plan.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So Stacy, we're at that level. Listen, what I would say is, the folks who are listening in, if you want to just jump on and speak with Coach Stacy or myself and get a sense of how coaching may align with your needs, align with your next thrust, your better half, please feel free to connect with us for a free discovery call. And we'll get on the phone and figure out, at least you'll leave with a strategy, even if we're not there to help you implement it, as to what to do next for your next big win, right? So feel free to get on. You're going to see at the end of this episode our contacts so that you can reach out to us, or you can connect with us through our DM.
Absolutely. And I think, what you said is so true, that so many experience a level of transformation, even in a discovery call, even in those connecting conversations where, our heart's desire is not to, take your money. Our heart's desire is to see you thrive. I often say, I'm cheering you on. Wayne often says he'll see you at the top. That is because that's what we want to see. And so we really believe in our communities, our midlife communities, our communities of color, and want to see you rise and thrive. And so We really are cheering you on and looking forward to seeing you at the top.
Hey, Stacy, that's going to take us out. And we're going to do this next Tuesday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. So, everyone, thank you. Have yourself a wonderful, powerful rest of the week.
See you next time.
And there you have it, folks. This week's episode of the Midlife Revolution. Hey, we truly appreciate you spending this time in this space with us. Join us next week at the same time as we dive into relevant topics and present solutions to spark new thinking and empower your midlife journey.
Don't forget, if today's episode resonated with you, share your thoughts and suggest topics in the comments. And of course, remember to subscribe, share, like, and hit that notification bell. You are the Midlife Revolution. I'm Coach Stacy, and I'm cheering you on.
And I'm Coach Wayne, and I'll see you at the top.